Hi, Jemma here. That's what you call me. Or you can call me Cupcake Jemma, or the Cupcaker, or El Cupcakerino if you're not into the whole brevity thing. And I have some information. Certain things have come to light, man. Such as how to make the favourite tipple of my favourite character, the dude, from my favourite film of all time, The Big Lebowski, into a cupcake. That's right, it's White Russian cupcake time, and I'm going to show you how it's done. Now, as you may or may not know, a White Russian is a mix of vodka, Kahlua, which is a coffee liqueur, and half, which is cream and milk. And if you don't want to use any alcohol, I am going to put non-alcoholic substitutions down in the comments box below. But for now, I'm going to get on with making a really simple coffee batter for my cupcakes. So to start with, I've got 125 grams of self-raising flour. And to that, I'm going to add 125 grams of caster sugar and 1/4 teaspoon of bicarbonate of soda. And then I've got 125 grams of unsalted butter and 2 large free-range eggs. And then you need to mix that for about 60 seconds on a medium speed. Next, I'm going to add 1½ tablespoons of espresso. If you don't have espresso, you can use instant coffee, just make it really strong. And just beat that until it's really well combined for about 30 seconds. And once your batter is ready, it's time to scoop it into your cupcake cases. And I have a 12-hole tin already lined with cupcake cases. I'm going to use some spoons to just scoop them in. I'm going to fill the holes until about 3/4 of the way full. And once you've scooped all your batter out, it's time to bake them at 170 degrees C for 20 to 22 minutes. My cakes are out of the oven and they're cooling down, so now I'm going to make the buttercream, and this is going to be flavoured with vodka and Kahlua. But again, if you don't want to use alcohol, just use the substitutions that I've put in the comments box below. So to start with, I've got 150 grams of unsalted butter, which is nice and soft. And just beat that on quite a high speed for about 5 minutes until it's nice and pale. And once it's ready, it's time to add the icing sugar. And I have 345 grams of sifted icing sugar. I'm going to add it in 2 stages, beating for 3 or 4 minutes after each stage. So that's nearly ready, and now it's time to put the booze in. So I'm going to put about 2 tablespoons each of Kahlua and vodka and give it a really good mix. Right, that is looking really perfect. It's smelling like a White Russian, so I reckon it probably tastes like a White Russian. So I'm just going to put this to one side, cover it with cling film, and I'm going to get on with making some chocolate ganache. Next up, I'm going to make some chocolate ganache, which I'm going to flavour with Kahlua to make it even more boozy. And to start with, I have 100 grams of double cream, which I'm just going to bring just to the boil. Once it's ready, I'm going to pour it over 100 grams of dark chocolate chips. I just need to let that sit for 1 or 2 minutes just to let the warm cream melt the chocolate chips, and then I'm going to stir it until it's smooth. And just keep stirring until it's all really smooth and really well mixed. And once it is nice and smooth, just grab your Kahlua back and put a tablespoon of that in there and give it a stir. Right, that's ready, so I'm just going to leave that to one side. It's quite liquidy at the moment, so it needs to cool down a bit to thicken up. Meanwhile, I'm just going to clear the decks and get on with making the filling. It's going to be a creamy Kahlua fest, which is going to be delicious. So I'm starting with 100 grams of double cream. I'm going to put a tablespoon and a bit, so 4 teaspoons roughly, of Kahlua, and I'm going to whip it lightly. And once it's reached a kind of soft peak, I'm going to load it up into a piping bag. Now, using an apple corer, I'm going to take out the middles to make some room for this stuff. And now you can fill your holes with your lovely cream filling. Now, I know what you're thinking. White Russians don't have any chocolate in, but this chocolate ganache is really to give a two-tone effect and that real dark and light into the icing. So what I'm going to do, now that it's kind of cooled down and gone to a nice spreadable consistency, I'm going to just smear it up in the inside of my piping bag. And now you can fill the rest of your piping bag with your lovely White Russian buttercream. Just give it a little bounce to get it all to the end. And you'll want to squirt out the first bit just because that might not be quite the desired effect. So over a bowl, just start squeezing. And there it is. So once it's ready, just start icing your cupcakes. Now I'm using a star nozzle just because I really like the effect it gives, but you can use a round nozzle or whatever kind of nozzle you like. Well, I guess that does it. Wraps are all up. Things seem to have worked out pretty good for my White Russian cupcakes. It's a pretty good recipe, don't you think? Well, that was delicious. I'm just going to serve these on my favourite rug. I think it really ties the recipe together.